All right, welcome to week 7. A couple things to get this week rolling. First, we got the stud of the week, and I give it to myself and John Davis. And here's why. Because Andy put out that power rankings, and then he put out whatever you call like the who gets lucky rankings, and it totally appears that John and I are having some bad luck, but yet he's 3-3. He should have a better record than that, and I am 4-2. So, even with our bad luck, we are at least pulling out some wins, so good job us. Also want to point out some people I think made some awesome moves last week off the waiver wire. A lot of moves off the waiver wire don't really pan out to be that impactful, but there's some really good ones last week, like when Drew Wagner picked Brandon Oliver. I almost lost because of that. Thought I was going to for a while. Andy picked up Sanu. That was a really good pickup, Andy. Good job. And then 2 quarterback pickups. Heiser with Brady and Tyler with Romo, like the day before. Good pickups there. And I even say, even though he didn't get a touchdown, his 100 yards was pretty sweet when Ronnie Hillman got those yards for Ben. So, good pickups. All of you just made your team stronger. My dud of the week is Nick. I kind of posed the question to something that Ben put on a thread, or I think it was a thread, or maybe it's a text, I don't remember. Regardless, wondering if Nick's score was the lowest score that we ever had, and I think it turns out that he said it was like the second lowest score ever in our league, not just this year, but in a lot of years. So, Nick, I think that's worthy of a dud award. So enjoy that. Put it on your mantle or something. All right, let's get to the games this week. As mentioned, Drew Wagner last week picked up Brandon Oliver. I think that made his team solid. And Fred Jackson is just putting out average yards. Average points every week. Just solid. Seems like you can count on him, which is huge for being consistent. And Aaron Rodgers is always up for a big game. Carolina will be tough though, but I think he can do it. He seems to be working well, especially with Nelson right now. So I think that's too much to overcome for Ben Black, and I think Bernard and Hillman are good, and I told you Thomas would bring back. I honestly think you have 2 good wide receivers in Thomas and Jeffrey too. It's just the rest of your team doesn't really give you much, and I think that Roethlisberger obviously is not going to, lead you to victory, in my opinion. Seems like that offense is really sputtering. So, Drew, you win. Enjoy the win. Next, we have... Sorry, my computer is going slow. While it loads, I will say thanks to everyone for making this league fun. I've enjoyed all of the threads that were this week. It really is great to be a part of. Oh, this is the game of the week. Good. This is big. It's impactful with the league because we have 5-1 and 4-2. Aaron versus Nick. And here's what I think. I really like Antonio Brown. I've been saying it every week. It's just the yards that the Steelers get, they often seem to be his. And I'm interested to see what Lynch is going to do now that they're not tempted to hand the ball off to Harvin anymore and to just get more Lynch. And here is why Aaron's going to win. He's been skidding, but I think that he'll do fine because last week Nick's leading scorer was his kicker. Okay? Your kicker. And I just think that speaks volumes of the inconsistency that I expected out of your team and now is before us. So, hopefully your kicker doesn't lead you again, and if or when he does, you will lose. Next is my game versus Tyler. Tyler told me this week that his team is starting to hit their stride, and maybe it's 2-4. I do like the Romo pickup, and I said last week between Miller and Moreno. That would be the deciding factor for his game, and it seems that Miller won that one. Even without the injury, I think that he was going to win that one. So Miller and Bradshaw, that's pretty solid. Deshaun Jackson, he's had 2 really solid weeks. Fitzgerald, he finally found the ball consistently, and that does make me a little bit nervous. I think my wide receivers, Benjamin might not even play. Roddy White's kind of been a disappointment. I'm trying out Terrence Williams this week, but he seems to be a little bit like Torrey Smith, a lot of yards, but only a few catches. So I do think it's going to be a little closer than I'm comfortable with, but I think I will get lucky, not as in I will get lucky and Tyler will play bad, but as in I have Andrew Luck and he will be lucky. So I win. Next game is Chris and John, and I saw something very interesting in this game. Maybe a new strategy. I thought about trying it out myself, but then I realized that Chris is 1-5, so maybe I shouldn't follow his strategy of having 3 defenses on my team. Chris, I don't know why, but maybe drop 2 of them. Okay, especially if I am right. Yeah, none of them are even on buys. You're just like having 3 defenses, I guess. Just a new strategy, but I don't think it's working for you. I also really like what I'm going to see from Nelson, as I mentioned, and Foster against Pittsburgh. I think he'll do pretty well. The Browns seemed to run pretty well on them last week. So this one goes to John. Enjoy the win. Next is, I think, Heiser. Yep, Heiser versus Ben Baker. And I see a lot of probables on Ben Baker's side, which is not very good for his team, and that's why I also put a probable, on his chance to lose. I think it's probable that he will lose. I like Ben Tate for Heiser. It's a good pickup, especially against Jacksonville. We already know how Tom Brady did, but that's kind of what I expect from him. But I always get intrigued by the Giants in the Cowboys game, and I think Andre Williams will struggle a little bit that one, but I think you'll get picked up with Brandon Marshall, and Sammy Watkins is due. He seems to do good here and there, and I just feel like he is going to do good this week against Minnesota. So, Heiser, you win. Enjoy it. Last game is Andy versus Jim. Andy, I do think that your team is a little bit under. Your record is underperforming. I think Sanu just made you a lot stronger, and I think that Forte is solid. And I honestly wish Breeze would do better than he's doing, because Jimmy Graham needs more points for me. But Jim's team, I think, is the best team in the league. He has 5 of his 7 players, as in quarterback, both running backs, wide receivers, tight end, and flex. 5 of them are in the tops of their position. Cutler I have as the number 5 quarterback. Murray is the number 1 running back. Ellington is like the number 5 running back. Julio Jones is the number 4 wide receiver. T.Y. Hilton is like the number 9 wide receiver. And that's not based on how many points they get, but I think it's more important to look at their average. So it kind of, you only get when they play, not players that have buys aren't affected by the average. So, Jim wins. I rarely have a hard time seeing him lose. Someone needs to catch him on a bye week. That really hurts his team or something. So, Jim, enjoy your win. And that's it for this week. Enjoy your weekend, your Sabbath, your Sunday, and go Browns!